Yeah, so we're not just going to talk about beavers, but they're quite fun. We're going to talk about collaboration and control over your document. Anyways, my name is Richard Brock. I work for a company called Collabora Productivity. Here's some of the staff. We met up recently in Hamburg. That's about half the staff. Aren't they a pretty bunch? You want to work with them, don't you? There we go. So been going for 10 plus years, about 70-ish on the team. This is what we are trying to do as a company. We are trying to make open source software rock. We want to be the de facto industry standard as open source solutions, and as everyone here knows, we think that this is the way to create real control. Just a bit more about us. Ooh, well, that's a fun problem, isn't it? Anyway, so we're a distributed team. So we've got offices in the UK and Germany, and our staff are dotted all around the world. It looks nice on my screen down here, but something fun's happened up there. This is why we need good standardized presentation solutions. But there we go. Growing, certified. If you like pieces of paper, we've got lots of fun pieces of paper about all the different compliant things and being accessible. So that's great. But what we're going to talk about quickly is, do you control your data? And do you control your document solution in particular, is what I know about. So here we go. I don't know if the joke translates well into French, but there we go. When Shakespeare was working on his software solutions, it's a problem that I think we've all come across. We have these browser-based solutions that are often more collaborative. We have desktop solutions that are all often more powerful. But sometimes there's that question between the two. So what is the problem with these two? Well, you end up, even with solutions that start the same, you'll end up with this kind of feature gap between the two of them. So this is a really helpful example. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, I should have got a better picture. That, for example, is comparing Word for desktop and Word for web. This is in our marketing, this is Microsoft, and you can see all the differences of the things that you do have on the desktop app, you don't have on the web app, so you can get whatever it is, ActiveX controls and cover pages and maybe some GIFs. No, not GIFs, but you can have emojis. Anyway, and that's a bit of a problem. I don't know if you've had this kind of experience when you're, maybe not, you probably wonderful people who don't use Microsoft Office. But if you do, this is what you might see. And it gets really annoying when you're trying to work on something and maybe you're working on it in a browser and it stops working and you just end up with loads of these kind of things that pop up. And that's, ooh, can we get in this one? There we go. And so the end result of all of this is that we end up with these kind of two worlds. I don't know if this looks familiar to you, where we have products optimized for desktop usage. And then as well as that, we have products optimized for browser usage. And most of these companies will have a browser offering if they're the desktop solution, or will have a desktop solution if they're a browser solution. But there tends to be quite big differences. As well as that, there's another problem that might come across. So it's not just whether you can control where you are editing, whether you are using your data in the browser or not. This is obviously a problem that we've talked about a lot today. There is the geographical question. We've done lots of research as a company to find out where all the world's software solutions are being developed. We've devoted thousands of hours of developers to, and anyway, well, there's the answer. We think that's a bit of an issue. And exactly as Christian was just saying, if you want to control things, you need open solutions, and you need to have involvement in the governance. So the solution to the first problem is really to have the same code base that works in two worlds. So the same code base in your browser and on your desktop, which needs to be in the same programming languages. So you don't want a primarily C++ thing on your desktop and then some sort of JavaScript something or other in your browser, because then you're always going to have problems. So what you want is the same code base, and then you want that in a manner that is controlled by you, which is probably going to mean something like locally hosting, and it's going to mean something like open source. If the tech people at the back are able to put the next slide up for me, that would be really helpful, so I can see where I'm going. But anyway, so this is our solution for it. This is our browser-based product. It's our flagship product called Collabora Online. So we've been working on this for quite a long time. It's being used all over by lots of different people. In France, for example, we're working with the Ministry of Education, working with the Ministry of Justice. Lots of other people have mentioned some of the other stuff we're doing, working with stuff like OpenDesk. So it's a really great solution. It looks a bit like this. So this is Writer. This is what your Word documents would look like, and Calc for spreadsheets, Impress, and Draw. This is what we use for some of our marketing things. And this is our browser-based solution. So there's a browser. But what that doesn't mean is that it's a weak solution. So what many people have done is that they have made a sort of poor browser thing that is the kind of the software light package. But we started with our browser solution. So if you want to run your VBA stuff, that's fine. But then the other side that you need to sort of control this fully is you want that on your desktop as well. And that's something that we completed in November last year, which is our new Collabora Office app, which the way to understand that is it is having Collabora Online on your desktop. And that's really cool. So it means you have the same user interface, and it means that you can use the application wherever you want. So lots of companies have the sort of bring your own device policies and stuff like that. Different people like different browsers. The idea is wherever you are editing documents, be it on your desktop, on a train, whether it's in this browser, that browser, that you shouldn't have to change your user interface. You should be able to have the same experience, the same functionality. And just in case you think that's a pretty marketing picture, there you go. This is what it looks like in reality. So we have Collabora Online in the background, running in Chrome, I think that is, and then we've got Collabora Office in the foreground. So that's on Windows. And as you can see, it is the same, the interface. And we think that is really cool. Same functionality, same features, same UI, no sort of retraining, no annoying pop-ups that say this does or doesn't work. And the thing that we're working on now is to have the full collaboration experience across all of that. So not only to be able to open your documents and edit them, but to be able to do that collaboratively. So we have that in the browser, of course. So you can open a document, I can open a document, we can work on it together. But right now we're working on something that hopefully we'll be able to announce soon, to be able to have this kind of real-time collaborative editing, obviously if you have an internet connection, on the desktop app or the browser app or on your phone or whatever it might be. We had a talk on this already, actually, which was great. Paulina and Tessos talking about AI. Lots of companies have realized how powerful AI is. We have seen that as well. But we're trying to be really careful about the way that we integrate it. We'll be announcing this tomorrow, actually, or we've sort of kind of announced it anyway. And we're going to be introducing AI support in our next release that will be coming out tomorrow. But we're trying to do it in a way that really respects privacy. And that's what we're all about as a company. So, it's off by default. We don't want it automatically inspecting all of your documents. You can choose whatever AI model you want to use to integrate with it. And we're not going to share your documents, even if you turn it on, with the models. And we don't take your data either. That's what we are about as an organization. So it will look, well, that's not an exciting picture. There was a question earlier, I think, about making sure that AI models are ethical and that you know what's going on. So we'll be putting in a sort of clear rating system so that you can see what you're using, so you know where your data is or isn't going, whether you're sort of locally hosting models and things like that. So trying to make sure it's not a black box. And then the way it will work is you might highlight some data, and then you can use that as the context window. So you highlight some data, and then you share it with the AI sidebar and say, could you make this more concise? Could you add another paragraph about this? Could you make it more professional? Could you make it more friendly? So that would be the way that it will work. In Writer, for example, you can put in pictures of your favorite woodland animals, whatever it might be, all the AI fun that you need. This is quite smart. So integrated into spreadsheets to give people real power and control. So often we get these kind of errors and we're not really sure what's going on. Maybe you've deleted a cell that was referenced in another sheet and stuff like that, and you don't realize there's a problem until it's too late. Well, getting AI to fix that. But again, only with your permission. And then it can link to, so you might click on H8 or something like that, and it will send you to H8. So that's pretty cool. Fact checking your bullet points. Maybe you've got a presentation and you just want to check that this is a sensible summary, so you can do that. But as I said, we're trying to do this in a way that really keeps control with customers. So that's some stuff about the architecture, but as well as that, we need control in our sort of collaborative tools. As I said, it's a collaborative tool, so I can edit a document, you can edit a document, you can see that at the same time, whether that's in Writer or Calc. But what we really need is we need to see who is editing what and at what points. So we've got some really powerful tracked changes tools, which is not just tracking changes, but tracking changes per user. And then when you sort of mouse over the change or the deletion, you will see who made that change and at what time they made that change. So making sure that things are really clear and auditable. But sometimes you send a document externally and you're unable to track the changes. Well, with that, we've got our new document comparison tool. So where perhaps you work in legal, compliance, something like that, you're sending out a contract and you get it back, and you need to see exactly what has changed. So with the new document comparison tool, it will highlight the differences between different versions of a document, even if they weren't actually tracked. And then you could use the track changes dialog to see what's going on. So that's a lot about keeping things under your control. But we don't just want you to control it. We want it to be beautiful and powerful. So we're doing lots to make sure that that is the case. That when you sort of mouse over things, it tells you what it's going to be. That things are structured well. So this is just lots of ways to make sure that you are in control of your document editing stack. You click on a picture and the picture tab pops up. You click on a table, the table tab pops up. And we've been doing all of this looking at our own internal usage to see how we use the solution, so we can track that internally, and see, the most common thing to do is click a mouse, and then type for me, the common thing to do is Control Z. And so making sure that the most common features are really easily discoverable. So we've been collecting our own data. We don't have customer data, obviously, to see that. So yeah, there's going to be a new release announced tomorrow. I can show you a few things now. Nice things like slide sections, so you can kind of group together your different sections, which will be really handy when you've got massive presentations like this that are 70-ish slides, and you want to see what's going on when you're editing it. Table styles, this is a really important feature. It makes tables beautiful. It's also a really good interop win, so making sure that we behave the way that you expect. If you've had a document that's come to you from Excel, it should look the same and behave the same. Pivot tables aren't new, but now with calculated fields, again, making sure that we've got that really good interoperability story, that you can work on your own documents, you can share with other people, you can receive from other people, and that stuff is going to work well. So just lots of really fun things. This is an important thing for control. It makes sense in lots of situations to just open documents by default in a read-only mode, because then you're going to avoid accidental edits. So you can turn that on by default now if you want, but that meant that we needed to make changing really easy and simple, so we've added a nice switcher at the top. So there's loads more we can talk about, all sorts of markdown stuff. Now that AI is very popular, markdown has become quite an important file format and stuff like that. All the kind of fancy new features. But there we go. And some other stuff. This is something we're really pleased with. So making sure that we have accessible solutions. So this is the German sort of regulator for accessibility, and we just a few weeks ago actually we passed their accessibility testing, so we can now use this sticker, and so it means that we're working well with screen readers and have good keyboard navigation and stuff like that. That we have really good assistive technology, and as I mentioned already, making sure that that round trip works really well, because there's no point just having a completely separate solution, but that breaks when you try and use it with the real world. We have to accept that at the moment, Microsoft is the dominant force, and we need to be able to operate with it well. So we're doing that really well to make sure that we can share files and so on. Just a few case studies. I mean, some of the other partners here have mentioned lots of fun stuff. I think someone did mention Schleswig-Holstein. So we've been working with them to help them move away from Microsoft Office. Something like 30,000 employees who've now left Microsoft Office. That's something that we were helping them with. Things like the Austrian military. We had a sort of a senior member of the Austrian military at our conference recently in Germany, which was really fun. We weren't allowed to record his talk, and I can't tell you what he talked about, but they're doing, as you can imagine, some quite sensitive things, and they don't want other people to see their data, and they want to have complete control over it. So where did they come? They came to us to make sure that they can control their data. So yeah, that's a few examples. I've got 3 minutes left. I'll throw out some beavers, and has anyone got any questions?